Now, back to Did She Say That with Sonnie Johnson.
Welcome back to Did She Say That? A Breitbart Podcast on Podcast One. I'm your host, Sonnie, and you know what time it is. What's up, Javonni?
What's up, Sonnie?
Stop it, bitch. I don't want to be perky today. I want to be angry and bitter and all of those things. Don't try to make me perky, damn it.
No, you can't. I'm here. Get excited.
I know. I'm always excited when I get to spend time with my Vonnie.
Aw, same here.
But I bet you're going to bring me some bullshit stories, aren't you? We're going to have to talk about some bullshit though, aren't we? So, okay, let's cut the niceties and just get to the bullshit. Let's see what we got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is the day that Republicans have been salivating over. Hillary Clinton, as we speak, is meeting with the FBI as the last leg of her email probe concludes. For the last 4 years, knowing Hillary was going to be the nominee, the GOP nailed her face to the cross and proceeded to have a circle jerk even Larry Craig would be jealous of. But here's the thing. Who does FBI Director James Comey report to? President Obama, of course. And in the event there is no indictment, what are Republicans going to do? Or have they even thought that far? What do you think, Sonnie?
I don't think that there's going to be an indictment. This is the Teflon Don. I think we're like at that point where we have to realize we don't control. I keep talking to conservatives, and when you say I want to conserve what is, look at this bullshit. Is this really what you want to conserve? Because this is what presently exists, and conservatives, they want to preserve the Constitution. I'm like, at least you need to be very specific when you're talking about what you want to conserve, because the shit that's happening in our government today is not worth conservation. Look, everybody knows it doesn't matter whether it's Comey or whether it's Loretta Lynch. All of this stems on Barack Obama saying that it is okay to bring charges against Hillary Clinton. And that's why Hillary Clinton has nothing to worry about. And I want to be really honest with this. Who of us believes that both of them don't know where each other's skeletons are?
At least for this election cycle, that I think I'd have to agree with that.
They both know, and this is like, what do they call it? Mutual destruction. Like, isn't that like the reason, okay, you got nukes, I got nukes. This evens us out so neither one of us uses nukes, right? That's what Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama have. They have that kind of relationship where neither one of them can be blown up because it blows both of them up, because both of them knows that the other side is going to retaliate. And this is the government we have. But one thing about government that remains the same is that the people get the government that they deserve. And America, this is a reflection of who we've become and what we've become, the bickering amongst ourselves, I'm going to be a team player and I'm not going to actually take into consideration what's best for the country, whether that be you're on Ted Cruz's team or Donald Trump's team or Hillary's team or Bernie's team. Doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's picked a fucking team. They've picked their fucking sides, and what is best for America be damned. So, I mean, what can I say other than really American people, we deserve Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that I choose Donald Trump because he's the worst of two evils. I'm saying I'd rather go with the motherfucker where at least I'm going to have some money at the end of the deal. Because she's not probably, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the deal, I might have more government with Hillary Clinton. At the end of the deal, I'm going to have more money with Donald Trump. So I don't think the Teflon Don is going to be touched. I don't think Republicans have a backbone to actually affect change in these matters anymore. I don't even have that kind of faith in Republicans anymore. Tell me, in the last 8 years, what have Republicans actually won? I mean, like, we could have, even with the Supreme Court, with John Roberts. I mean, come on, they gave them Obamacare. What have we won? Like, we made this push in 2010 to give Congress to the Republicans. I mean, to the House, to the Republicans. Then we make this push in 2012 to give them the Senate, and they still lose. Next week, Paul Ryan is going to bring up a gun bill that he said he wouldn't bring up because the Democrats had a fucking sissy fit. Like, when are you, who has faith in these Republicans to stand up against any fucking thing? They haven't gotten Hillary yet, and this will not be the time they get her. Either Donald Trump beats Hillary or say Madam Queen, whatever dictator titleship she takes.
I feel like that's their last card. And it's the sad part is that, I mean, we had this big build up to Hillary's interview this week. And if it doesn't go well, or at least go in our favor, I don't think they've really thought about much else to do.
But no, Javonni, look, okay, they have the emails of Hillary Clinton telling all of the governments, other foreign governments, that it was a terrorist attack. They have the emails of her telling her daughter it was a terrorist attack, and all while she's telling us that it's blamed on the video. Now, regardless of politics, that is a fucking lie. And this is the point where I'm saying, like, as Americans, if a politician, I don't give a fuck, be it Democrat or Republican, can say, I thought things were fluid and I thought it was the video. When we can show you emails that proves that is the kind of government that we deserve until we prove differently by voting the bitches out.
The great part about this investigation is just that every time they go through her emails, I mean, they always find, it's always something very interesting. It's never like that big major thing. I mean, I really thought the fact that she said it was a terrorist attack to one person and then said, oh, it's a video to another, that's kind of a big fucking deal. But so far it hasn't been.
It's a big fucking deal. Yeah, kinda, yeah, sorta. But hey, I thought her husband raping people was a big deal. So I don't understand where the line is drawn these days. And that's what Democrats have understand. Y'all the one that fucked up the line that allowed Donald Trump. Republicans didn't put up the fight, and y'all fucked up the line. Now y'all wondering where he came from. Well, when you made us accept a fucking rapist as it made a rapist acceptable, then motherfuckers like Donald Trump slipped through the cracks. That was your motherfucking fault. Now deal with him. Let's go to the next story because I'm interested in segment 3. So let's make sure we stay on timing.
Chicago. The city's had over 300 killings this year. I think someone shot every couple hours, I believe. Anyway, the police said they're not excited about stopping people on the street because, get this, the local city council requires them to fill out a form every time they decide to walk up to someone to make sure they're not exercising discrimination. End result, 90% drop in police stops on the street. I know we talked about this before, Sonnie, but what is going to become of that city?
The sign that they have up in Rio right now? Welcome to hell. You are not safe. You are not safe. The police are not coming. The firemen are not, that's how they're welcoming people to the Summer Olympics down in Rio. And that was my first comment, was like, how long before that turns into Chicago? And I make a joke out of it. Except for the fact I met the guy in Chicago by the name of Paul McKinley. No, that was the joke. I already made it. But I met this guy, Paul McKinley, in Chicago. And he is about as ghetto as I am. I'll be honest. He is a felon, hard times, bad stories, all of that. And he's in Chicago, and he's like, working every single day, grassroots, trying to give black people in Chicago a voice, and he's ignored. No Republican pays attention to him, and he will represent the Republican Party and come under that platform. But nobody will give him attention. No one will give him the time of day because he sounds fucked up. He sounds like me. I don't think it's fucked up. I understand him perfectly fine, and I agree with a lot of what he has to say. But he's ignored. And it's kind of that thing that I keep saying, like, these people are fighting. Like there are these voices that are fighting, and Republicans just keep fucking. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure we get Paul McKinley on as soon as possible now, because his name just popped back up in my head. I'm going to make sure we get Paul McKinley on, because these are the people that are on the ground trying to solve shit. And I don't want to laugh, because they're trying to do the right thing. They want the right thing. They don't want their kids, their nephews, their sons, their daughters, even the neighborhood kids to be dying at the rates that they're dying, and no one to care. The government doesn't care. The progressives don't care. And then you have these black people on the ground, and they care, and they're screaming for voices. They're screaming for help, and no one comes. And then you wonder why don't they? Well, they're there screaming. They're there right now. They're not Black Lives Matter. They're like, motherfuckers, we matter. People, right now, we matter, and we're fucking dying. And no one comes. Does it hurt you? Like, it hurts me. Like, I'm like at the point right now where if I take another sentence, if I say the next sentence, then my eyes are going to start swelling, and I have to like start stopping myself from being, I guess, the emotional female. Fuck it, bitches. I'm a female, and I get emotional. And this is the shit that makes me emotional. And I think I have a right, so fuck it.
It's a definite enough reason to be emotional. I mean, 300 people who just died, and police who are essentially standing down and watching it happen. And that's a pretty scary thing to see happening in 2016, like it's the riots of '94. You let the community kill each other, and then you go back to pick up the bodies afterwards. That was how the '90s ran through a lot of these cities.
I'm gonna remind you said that in segment 3. Okay.
I'm always told that. I mean, but it's really scary. I mean, it's just sad to see history repeating itself like that.
It's beyond sad. It's beyond sad, because like then at that time it wasn't on social media. It wasn't on social networking.
We have information now. I mean, and we should all be smarter, even the poorest of generations.
Yes, it was like at that point in time they had no choice but to go through it alone. It should be no reason they're going through it alone. Look, man. Okay, next subject.
Okay, now, can I add that, remember that I mentioned that Chicago they ranked in the top 10 for, is Bankrate.com's places for college grads to go to start their career. So the city isn't actually all that bad. I mean, apparently there is some actual potential there. I mean, of course, you have to survive getting to work and everything like that. But the point that I wanted to make, I mean, even in a city as rough as Chicago with the violence, etc., all these kids have to do is, go to school, make good grades, you can get a scholarship, and you see what's going on around you, you decide not to partake in it, and the facts are already there. This is a good place to have a career. As ironic as that is after what we just, talked about.
Like, okay, so you know what, like you remind me of when you say that? I think of 50s opening for Power. I live in a rich town. I just come from the poorest part. And where's the bridge? And that's what the fuck I'm saying. I'm fucking saying that there has to be a fucking bridge. That these two places cannot simultaneously exist in the same place where there is so much prosperity, yet there's such a barrier from letting the people get to that prosperity. And we're going to have that discussion on another day, but we are going to run into a time crunch. This is what we do every single week, Javonni. But we're going to go. Next.
Okay. So one of my new favorite people, just as we were getting ready to go on, someone happened to tag me in Tammy Lauren, I think is her name, from The Blaze. Her response.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You snuck this in. You son of a bitch. Okay, go ahead.
Her response to Jesse Williams' BET Award speech. And do you mind if I take a moment to quote some of this?
Hold up. No, I want you to, I want you to do that in segment 3. Look, matter of fact, we're going to stop right here. We're going to come back and we're going to look. You see, I got excited again. Like, it's like the bullshit of politics lulled me to sleep. And then automatically I got excited again.
Doing what I do best.
Wait a minute. We'll be right back.
How would you like to get access to exclusive interviews from iconic names like Seth MacFarlane, Bryan Cranston, Kevin Costner, Michael Moore, Seth Rogen, and many others?
Are you kidding?
Then you want to join Podcast One Premium. It's all available on demand right now, exclusively at podcastone.com. Premium members have access to exclusive bonus content from hosts like Adam Carolla, Shaq, Nick Ritchie, and more. They also get to participate in giveaways and members-only community events. And that's not all. You can also blog with us and get your favorite star to answer your questions. Pretty cool, huh? And if you sign up for a 2-year annual, we'll even buy you a $50 dinner. So join Podcast One Premium now at podcastone.com.
Did she say that? You bet she did. Once again, it's Sonnie Johnson.
Okay, back to Did She Say That? I'm Sonnie. You know all of this. Let's save time for the important stuff. Okay, so this week, this shit fan hit the storm. I put out an article. Go to Breitbart. Check it out. It's entitled, Are You Ready to Talk About Freedom Now? Jesse Williams. You can read it for yourself. And I was a little perplexed about the response because there was none. So I went on to Breitbart Radio to kind of, push and prod the bear just a little bit more. Still no response. Even though the headline for this article is called Blacks on Donald Trump. We want, what is it?
We don't want free shit.
You missed the we want greatness. You missed the we want greatness part. Okay?
Say it again for the people in the back.
We want greatness, not free shit. Okay? See, now, listeners, while you talk about me being loud, some of this shit can be blamed on Javonni, okay? Look, I was just waiting to see if you would cop to it. But here's the point.
Blame the gays.
Did you just say that?
Did he say that? Yes, he did.
Well, go, bitch. Say that. Here you go. The mic is motherfucking yours. Say that.
For this segment of Did He Say That? Yes.
I wasn't joking. Take it.
All right. So, before the break, I wanted to go over the Blazers' Tammy Lauren and her response that she had to the BET Awards. As I said, someone had just sent it to me asking for my response. I grinned from ear to ear, and here we go. So her words, and she apparently wasn't that much of a fan of it, she said, well, the BET Awards were last night. Notably, they were black. Oh, can I say that? What with my whiteness and all? Well, too damn bad. Question, was this a celebration of black entertainment or an opportunity to complain about the plight of wealthy black actors and musicians? Curious, because I saw a lot of talent on that stage, but at the same time, a whole lot of victimhood. Oh, and police bashing, that too. So the headlines went that she wanted to have some type of, she wanted to be thanked for ending slavery, white people ending slavery. And I haven't really seen anything positive from anyone about this little monologue of hers. And I have to say this, when I watched Jesse Williams speak, I was kind of, I had kind of a blank stare on my face. I watched as everyone gave their hand claps and their amens. And I said, okay, attractive guy.
Yes, he is. Ain't he sexy? I'm sorry, but that's a sexy motherfucker. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Gave a powerful speech. The words didn't necessarily matter. He mentioned, racism, unfairness, a fair shot, all those little key words to get everyone riled up, the Bernie supporters, of course, so that he can, I guess, help BET bring people over onto Hillary's side, since it was on 7 networks and whatnot. And when it was over with, I was thinking about all these awful things I heard about what Tammy had to say. And I said, technically, she really wasn't wrong. I mean, the tone, be damned, whatever. But at the end of this whole thing, what is the purpose? So I had an extensive debate on my Facebook page, and I was told that, okay, but the existence of racism is still there, and you ignoring it doesn't make things change any. And I said, what is the purpose of the speech? They said, you have to acknowledge racism. And I said, you all have had the same debate with me, 2-3 years ago. And we're kind of still in the same place of trying to get America to admit it's racism. How many decades in are we going to go at trying to do the same thing, trying to bring America to its knees and cry uncle? There's racists in the country. We know that. Now what? What is the purpose? Of all the successful black people that there are in the country, Sonnie did a show talking about them. We have Jay-Z, we have P. Diddy, all these people who have come up from nothing. I like to consider myself somewhat of a success story. Not quite there. I'm still working on it. But all these positive people, you could have mentioned any of these success stories. But no, you insist on the low-hanging fruit and telling people that they're victims. The system is built against them. And as Sonnie said, it's the system's built against them, a system that you all created. In Chicago, the fact that the police aren't picking as many people up off of the street, that was created by their city council. The city council happens to be black. It's another case of black Democrats hurting other blacks harming black people. And that's really what we have inside of these inner cities. So again, we're not acknowledging the people who are actually doing this, and we're repeating the same thing that we have for decades. And what is the end result of this? Blacks are no longer the chosen demographic for the Democratic Party. Now it's mostly gays and transgenders. All we've talked about are bathroom laws all this year. No one's really been concerned about anything that Black Lives Matter is doing. I guess we'll probably have a fire or two coming up to convention time. Hopefully not the GOP convention, because Sonnie's there.
I know. Say prayers for me.
Yes, I'm holding my hand of protection over Sonnie's head.
Yes.
But that's what it looks like. They probably will try something like that just for the sake of gaining some attention, because it's like I've heard Milo say that they know the jig is up. Their time is over. People aren't buying into it anymore.
Do you know what, Javonni? Like, you mentioned something really important. It's kind of where I want to focus, because I'm like, you got to put this shit to bed. But you talk about purpose, right? And all of us have to pick what our purpose is, right? Now, I could make my purpose pettiness. You know, I can make my purpose pettiness. So right now, where I could, and this is what I think Republicans and conservatives want me to do. And I have it's in me to do it. I can be petty. Would you like to hear me be petty? Like this is what, please, I want to show you.
You were just talking about this on Twitter yesterday. Why did I not know you weren't? How did I know you were going here?
Because I need people to understand that the shit I do is by choice because of my purpose. Now, here it is. I could be petty. And this is what me being petty to Black Lives Matter, this is what me being petty to them looks like. It would sound like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, but which ones? Our friends, our cousins, our daughters, our sons, our nieces, our nephews, our sisters, our brothers, our aunts, our uncles, our fathers, our mothers. Black Lives Matter, but which ones? They all matter at the end of a noose. They all matter at the lash of a whip. They matter at a water fountain with a color-only sign, at a lunch counter in protest, at the teeth of a dog sent to subdue, at water pressure that streams to sting. They matter at churches that burn while youth choir sings, at the explosion of a sniper rifle fired in hate. Black Lives Matter. But which ones? The ones history has assigned us to remember, history being those who tell us never forget. Slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, and segregation, because those are the black lives that matter. Only those that died under domination, only those that died based on their skin, only those that died by a white man's hand in a white man's land under a white man's law, those black lives matter. So history forgets that black life matters. Now victims of white people matter. Let me pause right here to talk to Black Lives Matter crowd, because I know I pissed you off. Fuck you. Because of you, Black lives don't matter. Drive-bys don't matter. Drug deals gone wrong don't matter. Little kid at the playground hit by a stray bullet don't matter. Stepping on shoes turns to chalk lines don't matter. 34 shot, 8 killed in one weekend doesn't matter. Over 20 million killed in clinics that tout parenthood doesn't matter, because white people matter. Their white privilege matters. You can't be whole until they admit that they know how much you think that they matter. And you pump your fist that Black Lives Matter. Well, tell me this. When was the last time a Black Lives Matter when it didn't have to do with a white man? And I laugh because you don't even see their plan. Progressives don't have to kill you. They can put you in a box and let you kill yourself. And while you scream Black Lives Matter, Black unemployment doesn't matter. Growing number of people on food stamps doesn't matter. Children being born to single mothers doesn't matter. Kids graduating that can barely read doesn't matter. Adults with African American history degrees, no job, $75,000 in debt doesn't matter. Grandmothers losing a family home to bail out their grandson doesn't matter. Whole cities fall into bankruptcy and it doesn't matter. Burn this bitch down. It doesn't matter, because to you only, and I mean only, white people matter. Do you know when you're out in the street, your life matters? More mothers weep for sons that never grow to be fathers, for fathers that never live to tell their sons, you matter. Nigga, you matter. And it's not a slogan from a token that wants your vote. It is a cry of love from a Black woman that was screaming Black Lives Matter before it became a meme. And you didn't have to die for me to scream. I don't have to know your name or feel your pain to understand you matter. You don't have to convince me society has an axe to grind with the Black man. I've been screaming for years. That's the progressive plan. Can you hear me now? The same people that have you screaming Black Lives Matter, they built your hood, your school, the rules and laws that keep you handcuffed, in jail, out on bail, probation and parole. They set your trap, fuel your fire, and send you to the streets to scream Black Lives Matter. You don't matter to them. Black lives don't matter to them. Let me reiterate. White privilege matters to them. Your hatred of white people matters to them. Your death blamed on a white person matters to them. Black lives matter, but Black life means nothing. Black families mean nothing. Black economics mean nothing. Black babies in the womb mean nothing. Black property ownership means nothing. Black suicide, homicide, fratricide means nothing. You mean nothing without white people. Because, you know, Blacks that get killed by white hands, they actually matter. Now, see, Javonni, if I wanted to be bitter, that's what I do. That's how bitterness comes out of me. And I've had this for a while. I could have released this for a while. Do you want to know why I didn't release it? Because I have a purpose. I honestly believe a great portion of the Black people that are screaming Black Lives Matter, they really mean that Black life matters. That they really know that they are trapped in a fucking situation where no one gives a damn if they come out of the other side of it. No one takes the time to focus on them. No one takes the time to just stop and see that the shit is fucked up. You are born into a situation where it is very easy for a motherfucker to come along and say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But when you have started to see people die at 10 and 11 and everybody around you is on crack and everybody around you is stagnant and nobody is moving and nobody is going anywhere, there is no hope. Where the fuck are they supposed to pull this hope from? And the only option we've given them is to look for it in a politician. That's where they have to go to get their hope. Because even the Black church doesn't even point them to Jesus anymore. Even the Black church points them to Democrats. So where do they go to get this hope? So that's my purpose. It has to be somebody that gives a fuck enough to just stop and put them first.
And look, I spent my day yesterday with 3 of my friends in media, a model, a rapper, and someone else who's trying to get into acting, inspiring all of them. Like, they were all just ridiculously depressed. Like, one model told the model friend that he was ugly. The rapper he just pretty much had given up, it seemed. And the actor's been having trouble working. And they know that I'm, heavily into politics, etc. And my response essentially was that, it doesn't even take, picking a side, Democrat or Republican or whatever, to have self-determination. Like, that's not a partisan thing. Despite whoever's in office as president, Congress, whatever, if Democrats won this year, my life is not going to end. I'm not going to stop working. That's not just going to, it's not going to be the end of it. You can still have your purpose and your self-determination to make it in spite of all of that. And that was kind of my takeaway in the issue that I had with the BET Awards. You can either focus on the positive and strategize how to make it as a community, getting from point A to point B, or you can focus on these negative things. That's one of the first things I told you. If I sat and looked at all of the negatives in the community, I wouldn't be able to get up in the morning, and the same thing still rings true.
Thank you for saving me just now. I appreciate that too, because
if that's all that you see around you, yes, that is a very tough. Go ahead.
I want to give an example, right? Okay, so, and I'm going to try to see if I can get her on to talk about it one day, but I got to wait till she's ready. But my sister, fucked up life. I don't even want to go through, like, the details of how fucked up her life was, right? And she's been sober now for 9 years, right? So if anybody asks me who is my biggest hero in life, it's my sister, because she got put into an impossible fucking situation when she was like 9. Like, do you understand? And I'm not saying that this is like reasons for you to fail or any shit like that. And nor am I saying that this is race specific, because this shit happens. Fucked up people are in all races. But she got put into this shit when she was 9. And it was like, there was no choice for her. There was no option for her, because that was the only road for her, because of her circumstance. I can never not look at that being a part of where we stand right now. So first and foremost, I have to acknowledge that. So it is not a matter of focusing on it, but it is a matter of acknowledging it. Because, like, if you want, like I said, depending on what your purpose is, if you want that person to start buying in to what you are trying to give them, you have to see them. You can't just say, well, none of that back stuff matters, which in actuality, you do eventually get to that part of the conversation. I ain't gonna lie. Eventually, you're gonna have to let that shit go from the past.
That's what I said about reaching out to the Black community when I said, too, there's no winning message, that you have to show up and, like, actually understand what people are going through, as in sit in the audience and shut up. I did not grow up around some of those experiences about people being shot and everything outside. And when I went, in various neighborhoods, I went and I sat in the back and I shut my ass up and I listened. That was what I did. Because if you can't relate to something, then you can't relate to it. You have to be able to, you have to be able to take it in. And that's, you have to be culturally competent to speak to them first, which is why the statement when we started about the giving away free shit, irritates me. You know, you don't know these people.
Yes, I do know. That's why I always give leeway.
No, I'm saying when someone says that, like, for that to come out of your mouth, you don't know any of them.
I always give leeway. And say, you know, some people are perfectly fit to be Democrats, and they're never going to fit into the success that we're talking about. But I look at people like my sister. Like my sister now, she has a job. She holds it down. She's married. You know, she has a good life, but she is scared to death to hope. And I'm like, how do you take a person that has been through so much and tell them it's okay to hope? She has been kicked every way but Tuesday. You know, it's like, how do you convince them just to hope? You can get them to lift their head above water because she's above water.
You mean hoping that things will get better or improve?
Yeah, but you don't get them to where they say, okay, I have gotten to this point. She is so scared of rejection and so scared of being judged, which I think that's why I jump heavily on conservatives for always jumping on people for their past. Like, yes, people have a past. Let that shit go and look at the person that's standing in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Stop being these fake-ass Christians. Be the real Christians. Be the people you claim to be. And look at the person in front of you and judge that person accordingly. Find out about that person. And then after you make that bond, then you can get into the standing to your own feet. You know, then you can get into those conversations.
At some point, but you do have to meet the person somewhere, as you were saying. And look, just to go back to about people's past, we're in the tech generation now. So folks might want to think twice before they start jumping down people's throats about their past, because you know how karma goes.
And shit be popping up that you did that you wish nobody would have seen all of the time.
All of the time. And look, all the people who were going after Obama's education, you remember when a number of Republicans that it came out about how they had made up their educational background? That's pretty astounding how you can get that far in life and in your career and just make shit up like that.
Well, how about we have to leave it? So I want to leave it with saying, in everything in life, find out what your purpose is. My purpose on this podcast, for the purpose of this podcast, is to mix conservative intellect with hip hop culture. But more importantly than that, is to give a platform to voices people are constantly telling me don't exist. And I constantly bring them on here, and they constantly show off and show out. And I have no intention of stopping that. That's the purpose for this podcast. But the purpose for me personally, there's no purpose in me being a conservative. It's no purpose in me knowing that the shit works if I don't purposely put it into my community. And no one else has to live to that standard. No one else has to live to that goal. I'm not asking anyone else to do it. If I'm the only motherfucker that's over here with that purpose in mind, I'm cool with that. But that is my motherfucking purpose. So until next week, this is the Did She Say That podcast, Breitbart Podcasts on Podcast One, and we'll see you then.
I got American faith in America's heart. They say our reputation needs a new coat of paint and a delicate melody. But I say I like your bruises.
Stay tuned for 60-second AP News headlines.
It's summer, and just because you've got plenty of time on your hands doesn't mean your hands are always free. That's why I've been working on my Audible summer listening list. Discover where Audible audiobooks can take you this summer. Download your books or shows to your mobile device and listen anytime, anywhere, with an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, and comedy. Audible is your best source for summer entertainment. Start a 30-day trial and download your first audiobook for free by going to audible.com/podcast1. That's audible.com/podcast1.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson. The investigation into Hillary Clinton's questionable use of a private email server while Secretary of State has come to an end. AP correspondent Jerry Bodlander reports it ended late today with a statement from the Justice Department.
In a brief two-sentence statement, Attorney General Loretta Lynch said she accepts the recommendation of the FBI to close the investigation into Clinton's use of a private server with no charges being brought against anyone. Lynch issued the statement after meeting with FBI Director James Comey, as well as career prosecutors and others who conducted the investigation. The decision not to bring charges has outraged Republicans, and Comey is set to appear before a House panel to answer questions about the decision. Jerry Bodlander, Capitol Hill.
Donald Trump continues to hammer away at Hillary Clinton's careless use of a homebrew server. AP